Have you ever felt like there's just some stuff which you just can't do and then you just get irritated by it? Well, that was me with English, literature and language. But slowly I started to improve at each subject, and I went from like 2s, 3s in year 7 to grade 7s, 8s and 9s in year 10 and 11. And in this video I'll show you how you can also do the same. I'm going to try and do this in less than 10 minutes. Okay, English language. Tip number 1, use a cheat sheet. And that, I'm not recommending that you cheat in the exam, no, not at all. But before you go into the exam, read over a little sheet. No, not little, it's like an A4 sheet of paper. And what I would do, English language, I made most of my marks up from question 5, like the 40 mark question. Like the minimum you should be getting, especially if you're on a 9, is like 34-ish, 33. Like, I used this and this helped me get like 38 in my last one. Or if you struggle with other questions, write tips about or write about question 2, question 3, that sort of stuff. But basically what's on my cheat sheet is that I've got common words that you use, like walk, wait, is it walk? No, happy, sad, walk, run. And I've got synonyms of each word alongside the main word that you want to use. And by doing that, you're like, the examiner's like, oh, you know a wide range of vocabulary, so you get the marks. Whereas actually you've just read that before the exam, and then you just look very clever. And I've done the same with colours, so like blue, black, orange, that sort of stuff. And I've also got some sentence starters on the bottom, which are also good to remember. Second tip, YouTube videos. That's where I sort of started everything. Started like building my knowledge upon stuff. For language especially, I use Mr. Bruff's, like, there's this playlist on paper 1, paper 2. Watch his videos, he goes through thoroughly what you should be aiming to do in each question, and he also gives examples at the end in his animated series. Third tip, use revision guides. This revision guide goes through everything you need to know in English language. So you've got exam basics, reading, understanding text, language structure, creative and non-fiction, and then you've got sample exams with graded answers. And then I've also got question booklet or the workbook, which you can go through. Strongly recommend that you go through all this because, like, as you go along, it goes through different stuff, and that all comes together to help you build a more thorough response to any question that you get. Like, it slowly builds upon everything that you've learned and then has a practice paper at the end of it. Final tip for English language is go through practice papers. That's all you really need with English language because it's so repetitive. That's probably what you'll just do in class. You go paper 1, paper 2, paper 1, paper 2, and just keep on alternating till the exam actually comes up. But then you can also do that at home. Like in this booklet, you've got practice papers at the end of it. If you want, get it complete it yourself and then get a teacher to mark it. If you've got a tutor, get them to mark it and then react to their feedback. Even in any like assessments that you do, like for practice in school, react to their feedback, build upon their feedback so you slowly make better answers. English language, that went pretty well for me, not gonna lie. I think I got the highest mark ever, like for me at least, like the highest mark I've ever got on my final test. So I peaked at the right time. But then English literature, literally just before the final few tests, I was still averaging around 7, and I didn't want a 7, I wanted better. If I can get better, I will want to get better. One way I got better in such a short amount of time, like I'm talking less than 2 months, is watch Mr. Sal's YouTube videos. I think he has playlists on any English literature topic that you're gonna, or any literature text that you might be studying. Go watch all of those videos that are necessary. Literally, I was told, well, our class was told that the question, our final test would be on Hyde. So I literally went through all of his videos about Hyde. Similarly, I went through Mr. Everything English's YouTube channel and all his Hyde videos. And then put everything together, I used physics and maths tutor, which I've got up here. For Jekyll and Hyde especially, character profiles, themes, and notes were the key parts that I used. Looking over the context, quote bank, godly, overviewing key scenes, and then character profiles. Easily, I can look at Mr. Hyde. But then I would look through all of those if you're actually doing the proper exam. And then themes, very key that you write about themes in your exam at least once. You think like it's going to be something natural that you do, or I'm going to write about the supernatural. But you have to actually, like, when you plan your answer, which you should be doing anyways, write down what themes you're going to be talking about depending on the question. That makes the examiner go like, ooh, this kid knows a lot of stuff about the theme. And then you get marks. What else do you want? You've also got question banks for practice questions. Practice is important, especially for literature, because there's no direct right answer. The same with English language. Do a practice question, first few times you do it, you don't have to time it. You just go through it, write carefully, and then as you get used to the style, start timing yourself and get those practice papers marked by a teacher, or if you've got a tutor. I had a tutor for English because I was so bad at it. Get them to mark them. And then when you put all those three together, they actually made a pretty solid, what's it called, like triad, trio, the trinity. Or you could also incorporate Mr. Bruff, which makes like a sort of square shape, I don't know. But yeah, Mr. Sal's key information. I'll also go about what notes I picked from his videos. Mr. Everything English, what I found useful from him was he exploded some very key quotes. I think Ape Like Fury is one that he went like into detail, and PMT, literally summarization, everything is there. My second tip for literature is to make chapter character profiles, chapter summaries, and a quote bank. Obviously, physics and maths tutor already has all those, but I feel like when you study it, like as you're going through along studying it, which I wish I would have done when I was in year 10 studying Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I wish I actually, as I was working along with it, I made some sort of profile. I made these quote banks. So literally, my English folder of your GCSE. Inspector Call summary, if you can actually see that, probably the light. Inspector Call summary. I have all 5 acts summarised in Macbeth. And I think I actually used my study guide to Macbeth, Dr. Jekyll, to actually do all these. Literally all it was get a columns of act, point, evidence, and supporting quotation. That literally puts all the information you want of a paragraph for you in one page of each act. So chapter act summaries, just solid when you're about to go to revise. I didn't do Macbeth, so that was actually a waste. But my third tip is to reread the actual book or novel or the play, if you've got enough time. For me, we were told that we were just going to get Dr. and Mr. Hyde exams for the last 2 tests, I think. Literally before those, I read through the full novel or novella. If you don't have the time, read key parts of each novella or the text, or look at chapter summaries. That's because it gets you familiar with the plot. And what you can always do in the exam, since you don't have the book with you, the physical thing with you, is just refer to it. Like, the examiner will be impressed that you refer to different parts of the book, especially if they're right. So about Hyde, I could refer back to chapter 1 where we're first introduced to him through Dr. Enfield's story. Fourth tip, make your own notes. And if you want flashcards, I didn't use flashcards, but I think it might help with stuff like literature. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, Macbeth flashcards. Those make sure that you actually know what you're talking about and not waffling. Waffling is bad. As for my notes, I've literally, for just those final 2 months or so, I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think this was actually for the last test, and I made 8 sides of paper worth of just information. If I had done this sooner, I would have been gotten like 7s from the very beginning and been working up my way to a 9. This is quite amazing, and I'm going to share some key notes with you that I've made. Again, these notes were from Mr. Sal's video, so go check out his videos if you haven't already. My first one, link words with the question to the writer's purpose. Literally, just write about the writer's purpose. That is one key thing which helped me get into the top band of English literature. Basically, what I mean is, if the question is about Hyde, that's what my question was, this is what I'm talking about. Literally, I would see Hyde, I would look at, I think it was something like disturbing and some other keyword, and I'd be like, okay, why does the writer actually want to write about Hyde? Why the hell did he actually create Hyde as a character? Why the hell did he even write the book? And as English teachers always say, there's always a purpose why they've created the character or the book. So Hyde could be like, Stevenson wants to show how dangerous science is. He wants to show how dangerous repression is. That sort of stuff. That is the writer's purpose, and that's what you need to talk about. Refer to society. Literally, the examiner will be like, oh, you're talking about society. Oh, you know what happened at the time. Oh, you're clever. Oh, I'm going to give you the marks. Literally, that is actually what it is. If you refer to like Victorian society, they did not like how science was challenging their religious views, their pious views, pious, I don't know. That sort of stuff will get you the marks. Now, final few tips. Embed quotes. It just makes your answer run more fluidly. Explore different interpretations. This is where you'll get most of your marks, or at least a good portion of your marks. When you recall the quote, look at the different ways a reader could interpret it. When you talk about high being troglodytic, you could talk about how that could look at science, how evolution, caveman, and there's always other interpretations. And then you can also use tentative language alongside that. Quote in the last sentence, quote in the summary, quote in the conclusion. The writer will be like, if you're right about, so Stevenson, blah 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 blah, reveals that man wants the reader to realize that man is not truly one but truly two, something like that. It would be, the examiner would be like, oh, this person knows their stuff, and they'd be like, you get the marks. And then what does the author want us to react? How does the author want us to react? What are their ideas? Right about that. That's all I'm going to talk about today. My camera is literally about to die. If this helped you, leave a like down below. Wish you luck for the future. That's all from me today. See you guys next time. Bye bye. Oh my god. I mean, I wonder how long this camera will actually last. I don't know. Haha. I've escaped literature forever. Well, then I'll become a doctor and I have to write like my own like PhD or something or whatever it is. No more literature. I'm literally testing how long my camera will last. I mean, this does look like a good help. This does